Gyökeres, the saga that is turning into a saga for multiple clubs, plus his own saga with Sporting Lisbon, which has turned out to be decently hysterical. But as far as Gyökeres goes, there were rumors that he didn't want United. Then Romano basically said that's not true. Obviously, the agent's keeping all options open. He wants Arsenal, apparently, or he just wants a big club with Champions League football to sign him, but Arsenal wants Sesko, which we're going to detail here from Fabrizio Romano. But how does this impact United? Depending who Arsenal sign, that player will then be available for Manchester United to go after. Obviously, Osimhen is a tangent to this. Arsenal's not interested in Osimhen. But between Sesko and Gyökeres, the connection with Amram's interesting because if Arsenal goes Sesko, Gyökeres did this big bust up with Sporting over his buyout clause or verbally agreed buyout clause. And if nobody buys him, and he doesn't want to play for Sporting, you have sort of the fallout issue that Manchester United has about 4 players doing right now, and you might be able to get him for cheap. Right. So we're sort of watching this Arsenal striker saga from the perspective of if Arsenal goes Sesko, then Gyökeres doesn't have a home. He wants to move. Could United maybe pick up a more fair transaction from Sporting Lisbon?
No, it really depends on what's the first domino to fall because there are players or teams that, they're very much pursuing a striker. Obviously, we know about Arsenal. There's rumors that Chelsea want another one because they want to get rid of Jackson and have, a star in front of Delap. And a lot of the strikers, they favor Arsenal at the moment. They think they're one striker away from going on and winning the title next season. But at the same time, all this mess around Gyökeres, he does feel like something that we could wait late into the window, get an opportunistic deal, even at 60 million pounds, given his productivity over the last couple seasons in Portugal. That would be a good deal for Manchester United. My concern is it feels like another fucking drama queen. It's like another player that has drama with their former club. We've heard about things going on in terms of messaging with his agent, and it just feels like we've had enough of those players where, like you said, we're on the way to moving out 4 in one go. I'm pushing him off the cliff. That's my concern around him. Everything I've heard about Osimhen is he wants to get paid, but he seems like a low drama player. Sesko, I don't know enough about, but there's been a lot of noise around Gyökeres that he's making himself, and that's just we've seen that before, bro. Paul Pogba, Jadon Sancho. You have a player with a lot of noise around him.
He has the Amram connect.
He does.
Let's remember.
But Amram could be gone in a year.
I'm just pushing back where they did. It seems like Sporting is the party to blame where they said we'll sell you and he had an amazing season and then they're just like, oh, just kidding, we want more money. Yeah, just kidding, that was a handshake deal. You need to sign.
Yeah,
sorry,
bro.
yeah. But look, let's get into Sesko here. Romano early June said Arsenal are advancing negotiations with Sesko and it's kind of died down. So I figured Arsenal was Sesko and then Gyökeres, most likely United or some other club. It died down. Then Gyökeres is really kicking up dust, like you mentioned, about going to Arsenal. And now on social media news, Romano tweeted out today, Sesko just started following Arsenal. So the fact that we're maybe hearing more from Gyökeres lately, the fact that Sesko is now following Arsenal, which is pretty cheeky if you consider he already has a club. Romano's tweeting it out, gaslighting the fans.
Classic.
Arsenal, it does feel Sesko was the main man from the jump, and Gyökeres is that number 2 who's like, hey, come and get me. I want Arsenal, etc., and nobody's coming. And if this continues, Gyökeres to United, like you said, it could give us some leverage. He has gotten an extended leave from Sporting Lisbon through July 7th, thinking that maybe, hey, you want a deal, go get a deal. If nobody comes to get you, ultimately you have to come back. And Sporting's president did an interview in Portugal and said the player knows, the agent knows, and I can guarantee with absolute certainty that Viktor will not leave for 60 million plus 10 million euros in add-ons. And so that means he's setting the floor of the valuation, looking for maybe 60 million, 70 million pounds. We're doing deals in that range currently for Cunha and Mbumo. Gyökeres, could we afford him post July 2nd? Maybe. Would need to be structured, and the stars would have to align. Basically, no one else wants him, and then he'll come to United because the Amram links, and maybe we can afford him in some overly structured deal.
Yeah, we're still Manchester United. He obviously has a great relationship with our current manager. My concern is, things can change very quickly for this manager, given how last season went. We're all rooting for him. Who would be your preference, sir? If you could pick any one of the 2 Viktors and Sesko, would you have a preference? I like Gyökeres, but my concern is the Portuguese league, and he is up there in age. But what are you thinking? Is he the top of your list if you can get any of the three?
Osimhen 1, Sesko 2, Gyökeres 3.
There you go. That's
for the reasons you said, where I think Osimhen you could get for a cheaper deal up front, maybe give him the wages. Just feels like a United player to me. Sesko, not EPL proven. Great talent. Saw him in the Euros. He's phenomenal. Younger. So I would put Gyökeres last. But at the end of the day, if United don't sign a striker, we cannot run it back with Højlund. We're going to be pretty desperate at the end of the window. And if he doesn't have a team, I could see the stars aligning. This is where a bunch of things have to happen, and then we can maybe get Gyökeres. And I wouldn't complain if at the end of the window we had a new goalie, we had Gyökeres, and we basically ran it back with Cunha and Mbomo. I would be fine with that. Like, I would be fine with United taking that approach, 4 players in. I mean, right now, like, what realistically can we expect? We're not linked to anybody, not hearing about any deals. Preseason's about to start, so I'm going to say if we got Gyökeres in, that would be a huge win for United. But if I could pick anyone, I'd probably go Osimhen.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I think, but at the end of the day, it could be one of those windows where it's quality over quantity. We could easily say you need 7-8 players, but we're going for high quality signings, right? The first 2 that we're looking to get in, the EPL proven, like you said, some of the best attackers outside the big top 6 teams. If you were to just get a starting goalkeeper who's not Andre Onana and a starting striker who's not Premier League proven, but you're like at least proven in a top 5 league. And I don't even think Portugal is a top 5 league, but he has done it in the Champions League. That would be such an upgrade for United that you'd be willing to run it back with Casemiro and Ugarte. You'd be willing to run it back with our fullback options, even with a youngster that we're about to talk about in a second coming back. So going for quality, getting the goals, and also getting the someone to iron things out a little bit and steady the state in the goalkeeping position. Because if you run back Andre Onana, that is going to be frightening.